Good afternoon, everyone. We already, I guess everybody almost in, and now it's already 2:30. Thank you for joining us today for a free webinar, Project Management Professional. So basically, this is the outline of the topic today. Okay, first, we will talk about the project management as a whole. What is the project managers and PNP bootcamp? So before we start, let's do some poll session for you to engage so that we can know what actually, so that we can have some feedback about your knowledge about for the PMP. You have around 20 or 30 seconds for this one, and then we will directly publish the result after this. Okay, from time to time, the participant are welcome to ask any of the question through the chat features. Yeah. Okay, here is the result for our poll session just now. So here I would like to invite our first presenter today, Mr. William, to take the session of presentation and discuss about the poll result today.
Thank you, Fora. Let me share my screen. All right. First of all, thank you everyone for joining. I thank you for the feedback. I think we saw a lot of participants. I think ranging from new PMs to very experienced one. We have a wide range, and then some planning for the PMP as well. Okay. All right. Very good. So I will start from beginning. So some of the experienced PM may need to bear with me for a while. All right. But any question, feel free to ask, like Fora said. Yeah, feel free to ask using the chat. So you can use the chat to ask a question, and then I'll pause regularly to answer those questions. And later, you can use the mic as well. Unmute your mic to ask any question as well, right? So we'll make it more interactive, more fun that way, right? Okay, first, briefly, I'll basically talk about the project management. What's project management? What's the value and what's the benefits? About a little bit more on a project manager, and then about a PMP, especially some that want to go for the exam or want to take this challenge to take the exam. Right. So I will do that, and feel free to chat any question or ask later on using your mic. I'm William. A bit of my background. Right, this is a picture when I was younger. So today very different now. So I'm with PMO Innovation. We are partner to PCSS. So we work together very closely. We do coaching, training, and consulting in project management. Apart from that, we also do agile and innovation. Before this, I was in Motorola, etc. I'll show you some of the project I do. And yeah, I got my PMP many years ago. That was like, I think 2006, more than 10 years ago last time. And yeah, this is one of the book I published on project management. Those are for more new PMs. What to do, if you're new PMs. And this many years ago, this book. Yeah, in Motorola, we do a lot of project, mostly on walkie-talkie. I think some of you are using a Motorola walkie-talkie as well. I hope I believe it's very solid. We do a lot of testing to make sure the quality is very good. Okay, let me get started. Yeah, feel free to chat any question as we go through. So let me get started from the very basic on the projects. So what does the what is the benefits first? What's the benefits of project and project management, right? So, and maybe quite new for some the new PM, but maybe is some of the more experienced PM you're already aware, right? Maybe bear with me for a while. So, okay, depend on organization. Typically, we divide it into function. You look at the top picture first. So we divide it into different function, right? Can be businesses, product, hardware, software. Depends on what product you are making, right? Or if you're construction, you have architect, you have maybe the scheduler, you have maybe engineering manager, quality manager, etc. Different function, right? And the good thing about project and project management is that the project management will cut across different function. And why it need to do that? Because we need to coordinate and integrate all the different function so that we can deliver values to the customer, right, on the right hand side. And at the end, we want to have, of course, a happier customer, right? So how we integrate well, how to let the different function well, coordinate well is very important. For example, let's say it's our company is to develop the, maybe to design and build bungalows. Many bungalows in Kuching and Sarawak. All right. So, for example, the business person will talk to the, get the business. Then maybe you may have architect, engineering person. You may need to outsource it, quality person, etc. So all those need to work together before we can deliver value to the customers. And of course, the more effective we work together, the better it is. So if you look at the picture at the bottom, if the team cannot work well together, the picture show, wow, very messy. If the team is very messy, of course, our delivered value to the customer is very slow, right? So the important thing is to have a good project management, structure project management, and also project manager, project leader. Try to guide the team and lead the team so that we can work together well. Now it's better. Okay, work together well to deliver value to the customers. So it can be any project that you're doing. So we also need to integrate cross-functional team so that we can deliver value. And the more effective we integrate them, following the processes, following the, hard skill and soft skill, all right, so the better it is for us to deliver value to our customer. And this customer can be internal customer, depend on what project you're doing, right? So the project ranging from big project, so some of the big project that some of you may be involved, right? Construction project, very, very heavy, infrastructure project, real highway. This is a picture for Pan Borneo, right? Some of you may be involved in this project, right? Some of the really big projects. And it can be electronics project, maybe it's electronics server, gadget, handphone, laptop, can be, car, electronics, etc. Right? So all those is project and need to manage in a coordinated way. Right? It can be event, and then some of you may be managing events, right? How do you manage it? To manage it well, you need to use a, project management methodology as well. In fact, some of the participants or some of the company we coach, they are managing event. So they want to learn a lot of project management tools, how to manage event. It can be an online event. Nowadays, very popular online events. It can be some charity project, right? Some of you may be involved in some certain charity run or certain project. You can manage it in a project management way to make it more effective. Or it can be a smaller project at your home, right? Maybe it'll be a landscaping project, etc. These are all project, and if you use effective project management terminology or processes and a good leader, right, it will be more effective to deliver the value to the customers. Right. Next, we talk about the project manager as well, right? So once you have the project team together, right, cross-functional team, right, somebody need to lead them or manage the project so that we can get the, you can see a PM here. So, lead this cross-functional team, managing a project in the effective way, follow a standard procedure, standard processes, right, to deliver the values to the customers, right? And the faster you can deliver the value, the better it is. Right. So in return, of course, once we deliver the values, the customer will pay the organization, right? So this is the value, right? And so this person is very important to lead the cross-functional team across. And there's a few, of course, later we'll talk about, what are the competency and the few key competency, right? This person not only need to have some hard skill, also need to have soft skill, right? Both hard skill and soft skill is needed, and plus, of course, experience. I think I saw you, some of our PM here are very experienced, are very important as well, to lead the team, so that we can deliver value to the customer fast. And what to deliver, right? A lot of things we need to, of course, meet the customer specs, the requirements. So this is a scope portion, very important, right? Of course, schedule, right? Customer have a certain expectation. Hey, when I want to get the bungalow done, right? Remember the view of the bungalow just now, right? What type of spec, what type of feature, what type of material to use, etc. Right? Schedule, right? And of course, importantly, cost, right? So the demand for the schedule and cost is getting higher and higher. So that's why good project management and good project manager are critical, important to manage this scope, the schedule and the cost, scope, time, cost. This is the so-called triple constraint, right? Together, right? So that we can deliver at least this the scope, the schedule, and the cost to the customers, right? The faster you do, the better you do it, or meet the customer requirement, the better it is. So project manager play important roles in this respect. And they are in great demand as well. I think I saw quite a lot of PMs here, so you're in the right place. Okay, they are in great demand, right? In the today environment, right? There are a lot of survey and study. This particular one I extract out. You look at the picture on your right hand side, right? There's one of the study. This is by PMI. They study the job growth and talent gap, right, across the globe, right, across the world. So in general, look at different type of PM job, whether there's a demand, whether there's a gap, etc. So in conclusion, this is a thick report. No? In conclusion, the demand is getting higher, right? As you can see in the previous slide, right? So the demand is getting high because we need somebody, of course, the system plus somebody to manage the system and the team to deliver values, right? And the demand from customer getting higher and higher, right? That's why the demand for this skill set or this project management skill set is getting more and more as well, right? And also there's a widening gap. What does it mean? Is that the demand is more than supply, right? So there's a many demand there and the supply is limited. So it's good for you to, if you like the project manager job, you continue to develop yourself. And also in your organization, you can continue to develop talent, the PM talent in your organization, because this talent is continue to be needed by your organization as well, right? So this is one of the study to show that, yeah, PM really in demand. Next, we talk about a little bit about PMI, right? So PMI, Project Management Institute, right? Today, they are the largest PM association in the world. So they are founded 1969, based in US, but they have nowadays, as you can see, more than almost all part of the world have their chapters, including Malaysia, Singapore, Philippines. They have many chapters. And we are establishing the branch in Sarawak and everything as well. I'm part of the chapter in Malaysia as well. More than 590,000 members across the world. Big organization. You can have more information from this website as well. Right. Okay, so apart from gathering a lot of PMs together, the PMI also publish a very comprehensive PMBOK guide. Right, I'll explain the PMBOK guide a little bit because this PMBOK guide copy, include a lot of knowledge inside. So it's pronounced as PMBOK guide. So it stands for Project Management Body of Knowledge. Right. Today, if you look at the picture on the right hand side, in the 6th edition, right, capture a lot of knowledge throughout the years, from different industry, different organization across the globe, capture in this knowledge. Right. Today in 6th edition, more than 5 million downloaded. When you join the membership, you can download it, right? For your copy, etc. Right. So today the PMBOK guide is fairly thick, actually, because a lot of knowledge inside, very comprehensive. Maybe you can guess how many pages are there in this PMBOK guide, 6th edition? Anyone want to guess? You can type in the chat or you can, okay, 800, okay, all right. Any other guess? 350, any other guess? 600, or quite close, 600, 400, okay, good. Any other guess? Quite a thick document, but the good thing is very comprehensive. It covers a lot of areas. So we have a few range. Okay, yeah, very close. Yeah, 760, actually 756 pages, including the appendix on 756 pages. Yeah, all right. Yeah, very good. Excellent. Good, good. Oh, very good. 756. Okay, very good. Yeah, thick document, right? Later we see what is inside there. Right, we have a look. Right, why so thick? Okay, good. 756. Okay, yeah, very thick. Yeah, this is a very important guide for the project manager, right? It gather a lot of knowledge. So as a PM, once let's say, of course, you learn from your organization, learn for your practice, right? So, but this Pmp guide is a very good guide as a PM because it's quite comprehensive. And for those that want to go for the PMP, I think just now in the poll, there are some wanted to go for PMP. PMP, Project Management Professional, is one of the most popular PMI certification. And today, if you look at a lot of publisher or magazine, say this is the top PM type of certification, right? It is useful for individual and is useful for organization as well. Right. As an individual, let's say I have a PMP. Oh, yeah, I'm a certified PM. So it's good, good to add value to my experience. It won't replace your experience. Right? Experience still important, but at least it add additional, hey, credential for your experience. Right. I'm certified. As we probe further, why they are so rushing to get the PMP? Because sometimes they say, yeah, the customer asks for it. Customer want to know, hey, to manage their project, who are you putting in their project? So if you have some PMP or some qualified PMs to be in their project, they'll be more comfortable or more confident on your project management, etc. So it's useful for individual and also useful for organization. Yeah, why so thick? Okay, right, so let's go into the next slide. Right? Why so thick? Oh, 700 over pages, right? Because it's covered a lot of areas. I think sometimes you Google, you may see this, right? It called 10 knowledge areas. So it divided into knowledge areas, right? First, I'll briefly go through integration. Right? Integration, one of the main knowledge area. Integration means is an overview. Overview of all the different parts together. Right? How do you integrate all the different parts and to manage a project? So very important chapter. So typically we'll start off with this chapter to understand what is the integration, what is the overview of how you manage a project. So this is one of the key knowledge area. And why so thick? Because it's go into many details, many what I call different knowledge area. For example, you go into the scope management. So it's a project scope management. How do you manage the scope of your project? Right? It dive down into how you collect the requirement, how do you finalize get the scope baseline, and how do you track and how do you manage the scope if any changes, right? So sometimes as you build the buildings or whatever, remember the bungalow project that we talk about, right? Sometimes halfway the customer will want to change this, change that. So how do you manage that? So they have some change control to manage those. Right? How do you do it effectively? Right? So scope management, and also dive into the schedule. How do you manage the schedule well? How do you break down into WBS? How you do the sequencing, etc. And what happens if your schedule is too long? Right? What happens if the customer need it 1 year and you map out to be 1.2 1 year plus 2 months? How do you compress the schedule? So it give you a lot of tools and techniques as well how to do it. And also the cost, right, very important part, right? So for construction, very important because the cost is number one, right? So how do you manage the cost? How do you break down into WBS? How do you track the cost? How do you monitor closely? And of course, the quality side, right? How do you manage the quality, right? Different quality standards, which quality standard you follow, either external or internal. How do you meet them? How do you track it? How do you plan? Right? So how do you do effectively? So this is the so-called four pillar, very important, right, to manage a project. And the PMBOK, including other areas as well, right? For example, resources. So these resources include physical resources, equipments, and all those things, plus also the human resources. So the human resources part is a soft skill, right? How do you manage a people? So they give you some tools and some techniques, and then some knowledge on to understand the people a little bit more, right? Because remember just now we talked about hard skill and soft skill, so you need both. And ping-pong is pretty good because it covers hard skill and soft skill as well. Of course, the soft skill part you need to continue to practice, right? After you understand it, continue to practice. So talk about resources, communication, soft skill as well. Very important, right? As you know, a lot of things happen, or a lot of hiccups happen because of miscommunication, right? And after that, the risk management, right? How do you do risk management effectively? Right, so a lot of organization may have some risk management practice. Some very good, some need to enhance, right? How do you get the knowledge and enhance your risk management processes, right? And there's also a knowledge area on procurement. Procurement is a contract management, right? Some of your organization you outsource, right? For example, maybe in our construction company just now, we outsource the construction part to a supplier. So how do you manage outsource supplier? How do you do that, etc. Right, so very important. How do you manage them effectively? So the PM need to know a lot of this so that we can, manage a team effectively. And also stakeholders. So the stakeholder include here the customer side, right, and or any other team, right, the bosses, etc. How to manage them so that we can deliver the project to meet the stakeholder expectation. So these are the so-called 10 knowledge areas. That's why it's so thick, because apart from overview, overview is only like, 50 pages, not so long. But how do you get so many pages? Because they capture in a lot of knowledge area. And the good thing is that, once you understand those knowledge area is very good, as a PM, right? It build yourself to be a very, what they call comprehensive, very knowledgeable PMs. So you may ask, hey, how do I master so many knowledge area? Yeah, we a bit of a promotion here. We actually have a boot camp, a PMP boot camp to help the participant, the PMs, to understand more about this knowledge area. In fact, we covered the knowledge area in a fun way, in the case studies and all those things. And especially we prepare some of the participants to go for the PMP exams, right? When to go for the PMP exam, how do you practice? Especially if you want to go for PMP exam, you need to do a lot of practices. Right. In fact, our track record is pretty good. With all the knowledge and practice, they can pass it quite high percentage. We have quite a comprehensive material. We don't use the pinboard because pinboard guide 700 pages is too thick. So what we did is we extract it out. We actually pay the loyalty to PMI to extract out, make it, condense it, into a workbook. So our workbook is 200 pages. So it's better than 700, still thick, but better than 700. But at least we extract it out, make it easy to understand. Have a lot of case study as well as we go through, make it easier for you to understand. An important part, if you want to go for exam, important to practice more questions. So we're going to give you questions for you to master it. So this is continue to build the strength of your PMs, right? Some of the PMs may want to go for this one to build their knowledge. Maybe sometimes we have experience, but maybe we are very strong, maybe at the scheduling or very strong as cost management. But there are other areas so they can build a more what they call well-rounded PMs, so to manage the project more effectively. Yeah? Right. Okay. And we have a lot of experience in doing that. All right. So let me. The next few slides is about company. I'll go through very quickly so they have more time to ask questions. Because I think we want to encourage more questions so that we can answer to your needs, which is better. Right. So apart from project management, we have the agile, the innovation type of thing. I'll go a few slides quicker a little bit. So this is a registered education provider from PMI. So we register under them to deliver quality training. And we also authorize trainer for others apart from PMI. We also authorize under the innovation, IAOIP, so International Association of Innovation Professional. So this innovation part, the SAFE is agile side, 6I is also innovation part, and of course we are HRDF companies, right? Okay, so approved by HRDF. These are examples. And yeah, I would like to encourage more questions so that we can talk about any specific thing you want to discuss in the project. So we have some time now left, right? Anything about the project, anything about the PMP, or anything about the project management, right? So feel free to chat, or now you can unmute your mic. We can take a few questions before we can go to the next session. Anyone about, remember we talked about the benefits about project, we talk about project manager, what is advantages of having a good project manager or effective project manager, and we also help how we can support you to grow your PM talent. So anyone, you can unmute or you can chat in the chat box. We'll take some question. Anyone? Any comment or question? You can type in, right, about PMBOK, you want to know more, or about, any, the bootcamp, or about the project management, or about the 10 knowledge area, any certain area that you want to see, or any challenges that you want to discuss as you manage some project, any challenges that you want to discuss, or we can discuss a little bit as well, anything related to the project. So feel free to type in any. Okay, there's a question here. What are the different PMP? Oh, good question. Difference between PMP, Prince2, and Agile Project Management. Okay, good. Let's me answer one by one. Okay, PMP is from PMI, the Project Management Institute. So today in the world, they are the most popular one around the world, PMP. Prince2 is from different organization. So it's from an organization based in UK. So in UK area, the Prince2 is quite popular. But overall, in globally, PMP is more popular globally versus Prince2. Prince2 is from an organization institute based in UK. Agile project management is more on the agile way, slightly different from the PMP way. PMP way is more process oriented. The agile way is slightly different, a different approach to manage project. So depend on the project you're managing. I think some of you, if you're involved in the software world, you may hear of this agile, right? Agile very popular in software. But for infrastructure or for any construction, typically we use a traditional PMP approach to manage projects. So they are slightly different. Prince2 is from a UK organization. PMP is from PMI, and Agile, actually PMI also have an Agile certification, different approach to manage project. And there's the next question, where is the location for PMP bootcamp to be whole? Okay, yes, we do have physically, last year we do have some physical training in Kuching, right, with PCSS, but now due to this COVID situation, we are doing online, right? So we have some online session. Later, the forum will share some online session. Because due to this current situation, so we are not allowed to sit together, closer together. So we'll do online for now. Until it open, then we'll do the training in Kuching. We held it before in Kuching and also in Miri. We can do it in Miri as well. And depend on needs. You have a lot of needs, we can go to other area in Sarawak. But so far we're done in Kuching and Miri. So let me see. Okay. Is the exam structured PMP going to change? Okay, the exam syllabus will change 1st of January 2021. Okay, okay. What it changed is you're going to add Agile. You're going to add Agile into this PMP. So that means if you take the exam after 1st of January, there'll be more to study. So that's why if you want to get the PMP, I encourage to do it now. Right? Do it now before it change. Because after 1st of January, you add the agile, which means that you need to beef out the agile side as well before you can answer the agile type of question in the PMP. So it will change 1st of January. So if you want to take the PMP, I will encourage you to do that before the 1st of January. Excuse me. All right, so let me look at other things. Okay. How long does it take to complete the PMP exam? Okay, good question. I didn't talk about it. Okay, PMP question is quite tough because it's 4 hours, right? 4 hours to do the exam, 200 question, ABCD, multiple choice, 200 question, multiple choice, 4 hours. So it's quite long. And the question, it sounds easier, right? ABCD, right? But actually it's quite challenging because the answer are very close. So we need, that's why a bit of practices before you can go for the exam. 4 hours, 200 questions. And you can take the exam online now, right? Last time you can go to a test center. There are many test centers set up, including in Kuching, in Miri. But now you can do it online as well. So if you don't want to go test center, you can do it online. It's a proctor online, which means that somebody will be watching you. So they try to make sure it is a closed book exam, right? So make sure you do it properly. Okay. Do you need particular cert to take the PMP? Okay. As a to become a PMP, there's a 2 criteria. Let me just quickly summarize. Or to be eligible to take the PMP, first of all, you need 3 years of project experience. Right, so if you for the new PM, maybe you want to gather the experience, you need 3 years of project experience, and you need 35 hours of project education. Right, so the project education is don't worry, because our boot camp we have 36 hours. So if you come to a boot camp, we covered the requirement as the education part, but you still need a 3 years of experience. So with the education of 35 hours, which is in our boot camp, plus the 3 year experience, you're eligible to go for exam. Right? Don't need any cert, but you need that 2 criteria. How long does it take? Okay, I think let me go through a little bit. Cost for basic practitioner certification. Yeah, the cost for the PMP exam is quite costly. To take the PMP exam, if you're a member, member is a $139 US. The PMP exam itself is $405 US. Quite expensive to take the exam. So that's why you want to make sure we study hard, and then with the guidance, we're going to pass it the first time. So how long the PMP certification valid? Okay, the PMP certification valid for 3 years. But to maintain it is very easy, right? You just need to gather 60 PDUs. So we call, let me type it in. 60 PDUs, right? 60 PDU. We call it professional development units. So that means you sit exam one time only. So exam is one time. So you need 60 PDU for 3 years. Right? So they give you 3 years, so every 3 years you renew, right? To do the 60 PDUs is very easy. For example, if you manage some project, you can claim some PDUs. You attend some classes, you can claim some PDUs. If you do some training, you conduct some training, you can do some PDUs. So there's many ways to gain the PDUs. Not so difficult. 60 PDUs within 3 years. So each year is only 20 PDUs. So it's quite easy to maintain. First, of course, to get it first, you need the exam. But after that, you don't need to go for exam. You just need to maintain using the PDUs. Good questions. Okay, maybe hold on to your question. We go into the next session first, then we'll continue to discuss. But keep your question coming. I will pause it so that we can go to the next session, and then later we can continue for the question and answer. All right. So with this, I'll pass it back to Fora. Let me unshare. Give me a minute. Let me unshare. All right. So yeah, we'll pass it back to Fora. Fora.
Yeah, thank you, William.
Okay.
So my screen is showing, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So now we go to the second topic, which is interview with an aspiring PMP holder. Okay. Okay, so this is the interviewee profile. Okay, his name is Bian Mutang Tagal. He has experience around 6 years plus. And then currently he's a senior planner in PCSS consultancy, and then involved in the road and highway construction project. And then previously he was with Dayang Enterprise as a planning engineer, majoring in offshore platform, topside major maintenance. And then his education background is he's graduated as a Bachelor of Science in Petroleum Engineering, the University of Texas at Austin. And he is the student of STAR, PMP Bootcamp, okay, and student under William, to be precise. Okay, Bian,
All right.
so
Yeah.
uh,
Hi. Thanks, Laura, for the introduction. Um, Definitely, yes, I'm a student of Williams Star PMP Bootcamp, and my purpose here is to offer a perspective from a student perspective about taking the PMP Bootcamp and trying to get the PMP certification.
yeah. So the first question that I would like to ask you so that we can share with the audience. Okay, could you tell the audience more about your background and experience, more detail rather than what being introduced just now?
Sure. So my technical experience comes from delivering projects in the civil construction and the upstream oil and gas industry. And while the bulk of my experience involves developing small teams and specialized teams, with the newfound knowledge that I have, I do try my best to provide advice to the project team based on my experiences or lessons learned and best practices from the PMBOK, the project management body of knowledge. On the side, I am a keen adopter of work methodologies that promote greater transparency, such as the building information modeling. So I've been trying to learn a bit more about the workflows. Since we're talking a bit about the PMP certification, I would just like to share my first real experience being part of a project. During my first job, I was assigned as a contractor lead for a pilot project initiated by the operator. So at the time, we were providing hookup, commissioning, topside maintenance services for offshore platforms for a multinational operator. At the time, I was only a graduate engineer, so this was quite a burden. But still, I really appreciated the whole experience because in a way it allowed me an avenue to break rules, and all the mistakes I was allowed, so the key word is I was allowed to make, would actually help me in my career many years later. So back to the pilot project, a core component of the workflow is to compile work packs. So work packs are basically compiled documents that details the labor, equipment, and the materials that goes to complete a specific maintenance campaign. And a lot of work goes into this. So the pilot project was aimed to create work packs that had more granular levels of detail. The change to existing workflow was to integrate the contractor's planning into the operator's enterprise resource planning systems, such as SAP and their own Primavera Global Server. Now, I won't go further into how the pilot project developed, but the long story cut short is that the projects failed spectacularly. And it failed despite having the backing of one of the top multinationals in the industry, despite having quite a number of world-class consultants from overseas involved in the project. Despite the countless hours poured into the project, it still failed. And although hindsight is 2020, honestly speaking, if I not learned about the PMBOK just a few months ago, if I had not taken the STAR PMP Bootcamp to have William explain the PMBOK to me, I would probably still be wondering what went wrong in that pilot project. So Flora, that's just a little background about myself and the projects I've been involved in.
Okay, so now we move to the next question. Okay, what actually inspired you to try out for the PMP certification?
Well, I don't know about you, but starting out on my career, I don't know about you guys, but starting out on my career, I didn't really have a specific goal saying that, oh, I want to be a project manager one day. You know, that just wasn't a specific goal on my checklist. It's just that from the first day of my career, I have been involved in projects. That's a blessing. Some large, some small, and across some diverse industries, oil and gas and construction. And you know, some of the fundamental skills that I learned in these projects, such as planning and scheduling, as I move on to other projects, I continue to build on these skills. And along the way, I also picked up new skills, new ideas, new methodologies. So of course, in the beginning, it was just theoretical, you know, like okay, I would hear my seniors talking about risk management and these things. But what happened is that as my proficiency and skill set grew, as I grew in my career, so did my responsibilities. So my seniors started giving more responsibilities, and eventually, I had the opportunity to apply these new skills, new ideas, new methodologies in these projects. And you know, before I knew it, I soon found myself managing small teams of 3 or 4 within some pretty large projects. Wow, all of a sudden I'm a I guess you could call myself a project manager. So the next question then was, and this is probably a very important question for project managers, how do I manage my team to do their job well? Am I developing them the right way? So probably the first wake up call, you know, when a project manager gets to just ask these questions is when maybe when he experiences the first time a team member resigns under his watch. Yeah, that's always a traumatic experience. So some project managers may be doing okay in managing their projects, but honestly, they could be doing better. Okay. Now the PMBOK guide identifies that part of the project management knowledge, which is generally recognized as good practice. Going back to my story, signing up, I think, for Star PMP Bootcamp is the single best decision I ever made in regards to my project management career. Why? Because having William explain the PMBOK to me, it made me realize that I had already experienced some of the pains of project management. The only difference is that I did not have the solutions. Back then, I did not have the solutions. Or maybe even worse, I didn't think those were problems. Whereas now, after going through the PMBOK, after having it explained to me, I now have solutions. You know, it may not be a foolproof solution. It may not work well with my team, but at least I have a structured way to take the solution back to my project team and say, we should do things like this and so, because based on the PMBOK, this is what they recommended, which of course it has to be tailor-made to the current problem at hand, all right? For example, is your project owner refusing to approve variation orders, VOs? Or maybe for the oil and gas industry, is he approving too many break-in work order numbers? Guess what? The PMBOK, they have solutions for that under the project scope management. Is your planner having difficulty developing a detailed work program? PMBOK shows you how to do that in the project schedule management. Is everyone in your team talking about risks? You know, we have this risk, we have to minimize the risk, but no one knows how to put it to paper. The PMBOK will guide you through how to make a proper risk management plan and risk workshop and risk register. Maybe sometimes you wonder why some parties support your project or some just hate it. Well, PMBOK will answer that also under the project stakeholder management. Or finally, if no one is responding to your emails or your project team can't get along well, PMBOK tells you why under project communications management. So I could go on and on, but I would conclude with this, that the truth is that most project managers are already halfway there in terms of managing their projects well. But what's left, Flora, is just a structured guide of project management best practices to get them from being okay project managers to excellent project managers. You know, I'm still considered a greenhorn. I'm still considered very new, with only 6 years of experience, but I believe the PMBOK, what it teaches me, will help me in my career many years down the road, and you know, until the end of my career. And I'm quite sure of that after having gone through this. So, and in the project management world, the PMP certification basically validates our understanding of the PMBOK. And that is my inspiration for getting PMP certified.
Yeah, what a great sharing.
Yeah.
And
Thanks,
then
Laura.
next, okay, how would you describe your experience of preparing for the PMP examination so far? Yeah, you're
Okay.
going to sit for the exam soon, right?
Yes, I'm going to sit for it in July. I took the PMP bootcamp with William somewhere in April during the MCO. So I was one of the first batch of the online classes, and it went very well. I thought that was actually my first time taking an online course, interactive online course online, and it actually turned out pretty well, right? And I think William and I had a great time, and it was awesome because I was like, there weren't many people in that class, so I had an awesome one-on-one experience with William. Well, preparing for the PMP examination, when I did the initial research into the PMP exam, I was amazed at how thick the PMBOK book was. We just had a discussion and chat, a little survey how thick it was. What was it, 500, 600 pages? And when you open up the book and you look into it, it's kind of wordy, right? It's a lot of technical jargon inside, which are valuable, but sometimes it takes time for you to pick what it actually means. And on top of that, I had a full-time job, and I'm just not looking forward to go through the PMBOK word by word. Thankfully, that's why I was glad I was able to go through the STAR PMP bootcamp. As William mentioned earlier, the STAR PMP bootcamp, all it does is condense the comprehensive PMBOK into a 4-day course. So you have workbooks, practice questions, flow charts, and most importantly, a very well qualified instructor. I would definitely rate William as one of the top instructors I've ever had the pleasure of learning under, because he's very easy with his experience. So he has tons of anecdotes. As any instructor knows, anecdotes are important to get the student to learn more about the subject. So anecdotes are basically real life experiences that relates to the material, the teaching material. So yeah, and I've lost count of the number of times that when William was explaining something and then it just clicks in my mind and says, oh, that's why I failed, in the past. So, oh, that's why so and so would just blue tick my WhatsApp message and not respond to me. So yeah. Anyway, yeah. So my preparation consists of going through the workbook, going through sometimes occasionally flipping through the PMBOK, and allocating some time a day to revise the material. So my aim is to take the PMP exam this coming July. So, if God's blessing, hopefully I'll pass it.
Pass with flying colors.
Yeah, I hope
Yeah.
so.
Okay, the last question for you, Bian. Okay, so
Yes.
what is your advice for those who are joining our session today, who plan to take the PMP certification soon? So what is your advice?
Okay, yeah, I could do that. Definitely, I would say the first thing, you could head over to Project Management Institute website, and over there there's a very brief. They're quite detailed in spelling out what are the requirements. So as William mentioned, there are some pre-requirements before going to the project taking the PMP certification. But based on the survey that I saw just now, most people had more than 10 years experience, or 5 to 10 years of experience. So that's great. That means, and if most of you have degrees, actually, even if you have a diploma, it's still possible to take the PMP certification. But definitely go to the PMI website. It gives you a clear understanding of what are the pre-requirements and what are the suggestions. And once you've gone through that and you feel that you've passed all those pre-requirements and you feel ready, do give us PCSS, do contact us, and we'll get you in touch with PMP and how to sit for the bootcamp. As you know, the bootcamp is also a requirement, one of the requirements, because it provides you the professional units they're required to take the PMP certification. Other advice is probably you would want to look back also, gather back your past experiences where you were involved in project management. So even though your title is not project manager, it's very likely that you have been involved in at least one or two or even 3 or more of the project management process areas. And that will greatly help you in taking the PMP certification. Although a word of advice, what we experience on site, what we do on site that may work for us may not be necessarily what PMBOK calls good practice or the best practice. So sometimes you have to be prepared to leave what you learn on site, leave it behind, and just for the purpose of the PMP certification, just try to look at it from PMBOK's mindsets, good practice.
Yeah, what a very good advice for those participants that joining us today if you plan to enroll for PMP examination soon. Okay, for those who are asking when will be the training for PMP under PMI, so we have the date here. This is online training, yeah, because due to CMCO, so all the training will be conducted through online. So the next training will be 15 until 18 June, and then the session in July, 6 until 9 of July. Okay, if you want to know more detail, we have our email address there, sales@pcss.com.my, for you to reach out to us, then we can provide you more detail about this training. Okay, as you know, this is the PMP is the third free webinar by PCSS. So next week, on 12th of June, we are going to have another one exciting topic. If you heard about BIM, okay, this is the things that related to it, introduction to 4D planning. This is talking about synchro, yeah. So please join us by doing registration. And then, and of course, in PCSS, like our session before, so we always introduce that we have training for planning, scheduling, and controlling, P6 basics, P6 resource, and advanced. But for P6, we do have a synchro basic and synchro advanced training. And then if you are interested or your company interested to know more about software, we also have the Synchro and Primavera P6. Okay, for you to know more about our training and the software related, so please connect with us through our email address, or you can contact directly to our sales consultant, the number and the name stated there. And do follow us in our social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and LinkedIn. And as well, have our YouTube. So all the updated event or information that we are doing, like the free webinar or online training, we always update in our social media. Okay, feel free to follow us, and then you can use the barcode here. So, okay, now we continue again our Q&A session. Those who doesn't have a chance in the earlier session, so now we open again session for Q&A, so you can ask William or Bian. Okay.
Okay, thanks, Flora. I see some questions there. Maybe, William, I'll take the first one because I think that applies more to me. So there's a question from Mr. Chan Kwok Pong that says, what are the challenges that I endured during this certification, especially for working adults? Yeah, so I would say, first of all, you have to make time, maybe 4 full day sessions to take the course, whether it's online or you want to fly into the specific location to take the course. So, you know, if you are able to put it to your management and tell them, you know, I'm taking this course for the benefit of the company and for me as to grow as a project management professional, I think that would be quite easy to get over with. So that's the first part. The second part is probably you will not want to take you will not want to take the PMP certification right after the boot camp. You probably want to take some time to go through the exercises, because some exercises workbooks are provided by William during the course. So what we can do is I would recommend is just maybe allocate 1 month, depending how much time you have to study a day. So let's say for me, what I'm doing is I'll give myself maybe 1 hour every day to focus on studying the workbook, going through the workbook that was provided during the Star PMP bootcamp. So every night after work, I will spend 1 hour on that. And I estimate that after 1.5 months, I should be ready to take the PMP certification. It's not, generally, we do not recommend waiting too long, but maybe not too soon either. But for sure, if your past, the prerequisite of having past year and past experiences will definitely help in your understanding of passing the PMP certification. It is your past experiences that will help connect you to the knowledge and the theoretical knowledge inside the PM book.
There's a thank you, Bien. I think you can definitely do it. You're a good student.
Thank you.
Right.
Right.
We have another question about the benefits of PMP certification. Okay, what's the benefits? I think just how we mentioned, the benefits can be individual for yourself and also for the organization. So for the organization, I think just now we talked about it. Organization have this asset, right? Oh, we have a PMP in the organization. So to the external customer, right, when they engage this organization, they feel that, hey, this is a qualified PM in that organization. So they're more comfortable or more confident in your organization. So that's for organization standpoint. Individually, as you go through this getting the certification, you also study hard. Bien study very hard, very good. Gain your knowledge or make it deeper understanding, right, of the knowledge. And then also you can get a certification, right, as a certified PM. In fact, what I didn't mention is that PMI also does a annual salary survey. So they survey PMs. I think some of you may have responded to the PMI. So they do the survey with PM across the group. And they found out that in general, if you're PMP, you actually get more pay. So that's a good thing, apart from the knowledge and apart from the certified PMs. PMP in general, you get a bit higher salary based on the survey. Right? So that is additional thing I didn't mention, but yeah. Apart from the knowledge and as a certified PMs, and it also help you to grow as a professional project manager. Right? So a few benefits from the individual and from the company side as well.
Definitely. And if I could just add to that, as from my very first job, I was already geared to project management, and just finally finding a way to be able to validate and structure my experiences and have a opportunity to start out on the right way, because I know in the next 5 or 10 years, I'm definitely going to be a project manager somewhere down the road. And knowing that I have the resources, I'm equipped with the technical skill to know how to guide not just me, but my team members, right? So being a project manager always means you're always going to have junior project managers underneath you. And it's to the benefit of your organization, it's to the benefit of you as a professional individual to have this technical knowledge so you can guide your team well. So I would most definitely recommend, taking this boot camp and going for the PMP certification.
Good point. Good point. Yep.
Yeah.
Any question or comment? Yeah, feel free to either unmute your mic or maybe put in a chat. I think we are over the time a little bit, but maybe you can take if any 1 or 2 questions. You can put in the chat, or you can unmute your mic, or you can even send email to Fora if you have any question after the webinar.
Yeah,
right?
sure,
So we'll
sure.
help to
Yeah.
circulate, and then we will provide the answer as well. Yeah.
Yeah, those who I sent a reminder early of this morning, they definitely have my email address. So if you have more questions regarding on PMP or any other training that you're interested to know, so feel free to email us, yeah, or even WhatsApp. So I guess that's the end of our session today. Thank you very much, William, for joining us today as an invited speaker. And thank you very much, Bian, for sharing your experience as a student under PMI Bootcamp under William.
You're welcome,
Yeah.
Flora.
Yes.
Thank you,
Okay.
Fora. Thank you, everyone.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you. I'll
Thank
see
you,
you again next
everyone.
session.
Yeah. Please join us for next week's session for BIM and synchro. Thank you. Goodbye.
Okay. Bye.
Thank you.